just wait a few more people. Well, good evening, everyone. I always get nervous at those lives, but let's go. We're starting today the accent show number 2, and it's a pleasure to be welcoming today an English teacher from Northern Ireland, Eleanor, and we are going to be talking about a lot of things. And let me invite her in to this live. Just bear with me. Hello, everyone. I'm still learning how to invite people. I forgot how I did that last time. Bear with me, guys. This is still something new to me. Oh my goodness. There you go. Okay, I got it. Okay, hi everyone.
There we are.
Hi. I got it. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Happy Friday.
Because I always get nervous with lives because it's only my second time and
Well, it's my first time in the same boat. It's all good.
Good. Thank you so much for being here today. It is really a pleasure, and I know you have a tight schedule, so thank you for making time.
It's all good. It's nice to chat. Yeah, nice to kind of see you and stuff like that. Yeah. How's it going? Busy week?
It was very busy. I actually have, I don't know if you heard it, but visa students can now enter Ireland again from the 20th of September. So we're starting with good news, positive vibes to anyone looking to come to Ireland again to study English based on a visa student. You can come back from 20th of September, yeah.
Yes, I heard that today. I heard it was short-term visa though. Is that the case?
As far as I understood, no. Anyone can. Then I saw it on immigration website. It is a little bit confused, but the notes that the schools received, it is more complete, and it's any student for long term. Yeah. So let's hope things get better, normal again.
To get in, and haven't had a chance. They've been waiting for a long time, so hopefully now,
yeah,
I don't know, new normal or whatever, but we'll get there.
Yeah, the new normal at least. Well, but I don't want to be talking much to talk as much as you can. Away. We want to showcase your accent from Northern Ireland. And okay, so you can start introducing yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do.
Okay. So I'm Eleanor. I live in Northern Ireland. So the accent that you hear me using, I'm going to really try and use my natural accent this evening. But to be honest, whenever I'm teaching, I find that students tend to not understand certain words. And also whenever I'm abroad, I have to change my accent slightly because there's a bit of confusion. So words that for me are quite common would be how and now, and this is quite a flat sound, like whenever I speak to students or I speak to people from other countries, I have to say how and now, to sound a little bit more English or something. But it's so sometimes I kind of forget. I sort of slip into teacher mode and using different accent, and then sometimes I slip out of it completely. So I'm going to try and use my natural accent as much as I can. I live in Northern Ireland, so I live actually right on the border. I don't know what a typical Northern Irish accent is. There's a lot of variations, and probably my accent is a little bit more neutral than some people because I have learned other languages and I've traveled a little bit and had to communicate with lots of people from other countries. But I live on the border, so I live very close to the Republic of Ireland and I cross into there every day for work. And yeah, I'm a teacher, so I teach in a school, a private language school, and also I teach some private classes as well. So it's busy.
Great, okay. And yes, when you did say ho, did I pronounce it correctly?
How.
I did. I was asking myself, what's that?
Yes, this is the problem. Yes, so many people are like, "What is that?" Or cow. I say, "Ah, I'm a farm. I've got cows," and people are like, "What is that?" So then I have to go moo,
Yeah,
or I have to change
the whole
cow.
sense.
You know?
But it is that's the reason why we came up with this show to showcase different accents, and it's so interesting to hear, like in the same country you can hear so many different accents, and it for such small country there's so many different accents, and it is incredible. I love accents in languages. And I also I know you being abroad for your masters, and you've been abroad for have you been to French or no? Sorry, you've been to France to learn French.
Yeah.
Just tell me everything. Um,
Okay.
tell me.
All right. So, I studied languages at university. That was my bachelor's degree. I studied French and Spanish, and part of that was an Erasmus exchange year. So you were able to go and study at a university in one of the countries for a semester per language. So actually, I didn't go to France. I went to Switzerland. I studied in Geneva for 6 months, and that was amazing. I love Geneva. It's pretty expensive, but fortunately, I lived with a Swiss family, and I was kind of like a nanny. And I went to university, and I got my bed and board there. So it worked out really well, and I spoke French all the time. And with kids, actually, I would totally recommend if you have the opportunity to speak to kids in English or in the language you're learning, do it, because kids don't judge you, you know. You don't feel like they're kind of listening to your grammar, and they're just like, read me the story. And you try, you know, and they just want to communicate, and it's really relaxing kind of in a way. It sort of takes the pressure off. So I love French, and my French got good there because I had so much exposure to it. And then I moved to Madrid, and I had a semester there. And you know, I'm not so sure if I got on as well in Madrid. I was with more English speakers, and didn't speak as much Spanish as I should have. But it was still a really good experience. Really nice to be abroad, and to kind of see universities in different countries and cultures and this type of thing.
It's exactly what
Um,
happens to Brazilian students here. They come to study English, but they always stick together with other Brazilians, and that of course will interfere in your learning process. And to me, I did as well a lot as a nanny, and I learned how to say rugby with a 5-year-old girl, because I used to say rugby because in Portuguese we pronounce the R h, h,
that,
strong.
yeah,
Say rugby, and she wouldn't know what I was talking about, and I was like, the sport, and she was like, oh, okay, rugby. Oh, yeah,
yeah,
but to learn with kids. They do correct you, which is great, because some adults would be kind of like, not afraid, but it could be a bit, you know what I mean. Some adults wouldn't correct you, but kids would, and they don't judge you. So it is a great way to learn with kids, indeed.
it is. Yeah, yeah. So recommend that. And yeah, living with if you live with people of your own nationality, it is so hard to speak the target language, and it's kind of like a natural thing, you know. It's like your comfort zone, your feeling of home. You're cooking the same kind of food that you like and eating at the same times, and you know, it sort of, it gives you a little piece of home, and that's really nice. But it's also really hard to kind of get speaking English. My very first Brazilian class that I had, they were all living together, and they're like, "What are we going to do? Like this, we're just speaking Portuguese all the time." And eventually they came up with this tactic where they had like a swear box sort of idea. So whenever they had a certain, I think it was a certain time of the day or something, whenever they spoke um, Portuguese during that time, they had to put money in this box. And like Brazilians, you don't like having to give your money away, do you?
Who
So
does?
this So it worked really well. It was a good incentive to keep speaking English just in those at that time period. It's a
Yeah,
good idea.
it is, because I guess it is comforting when you're living abroad alone. It is comforting living with someone that understands your needs. What, like last week, Peter saying, well, we bring in a suitcase. Every student bring something in their suitcase, culture wise, etc. So it's comforting for you, for us, to have someone that understands what you're going through, same nationality, eats the same food, etc. But it is really bad for your learning process, you know. So the swear box, is that how they call it?
Swear box, yeah. So I think it was originally, you know, like if you swore, if you said a bad word, you had to like put money in the swear jar. But it was that sort of idea,
Mhm.
but just translated into language learning. So you put money in for every time you spoke. I don't know how much you had to put in. I'm not sure. I guess you could just decide that in your home. But I think it worked quite well because they all progressed. You know, I could definitely see progress. So something worked.
That's a good idea. And
Mhm.
as you've been abroad for a while, have you been through any challenges with different languages somewhere that maybe they didn't speak English as well? Like, I don't know, tell me if you've been
Um,
through.
Something I found tough was probably in Hungary. So after I did my bachelor's, I went and did a master's in teaching English as a second language. And part of that was this amazing experience where you got to teach in a different country. You got to do your teaching practice in a different country. So we were sent to Hungary, and Hungary I really enjoyed it. It was a great experience, but Hungarian is a very difficult language. And we had a sort of a mini course in Hungarian before we went. And like, it's not enough, you know, like 4 Hungarian classes, you learn what to say hello and how are you and goodbye. And like, that's not a very full conversation. So I did find that a little bit of a struggle. But on the other hand, I wasn't there to learn the language, and it was good because I had to learn how to use my English in a way that they could understand me, you know, no matter what level they were, that I was able to communicate. People always say, oh, you teach English, okay, do you speak all the other languages? And I'm like, no, no, I don't. Um, I have to communicate in English, and the students have to communicate in English. And it's very good for me as a native speaker to think about how I talk and to manipulate my language so that I can be understood, you know?
Mhm. I think that this is a little bit scary for, probably not only for Brazilians, for any nationality, when you have to be immersed in everything, and when you get in a classroom where the teacher won't understand you, it can be a little bit scary, but it is so helpful, because I think that's the same way how I learned, because when I started working, I think I was here, I would be, yeah, I can't remember, but I was probably here around 3 months, and then I started working as a nanny, and my English was probably, it was really basic, and I would understand most of it, but I couldn't really express myself. So there was a time, um, the house was really busy as well. I would look after 5 kids. And there was a time when she would ask me for something. She was always in a rush in and out of the house,
Mhm.
and asked me for something that I didn't understand. And I was kind of like, oh, I didn't want to say that I wasn't understanding, but she did notice. And she was like, if you don't understand, you're going to have to leave. Sorry. And I think
Oh,
something is, yeah, something snapped in my head and was like, okay, pay attention in everything that you're saying. Hear every single word, try to understand. Because I don't know what I was doing so far, but it was probably, my head was probably flying somewhere else while I was doing something.
yeah.
Uh, but something
That's
head, and that was
thing.
a very big learning from there. But it
Yeah.
is, no one can speak your language, especially the teacher, but it is really good.
And it's frustrating, I think, for learners because often they understand so much more than they can say. And often, you know, they have a lot of ideas that are quite above their ability to communicate. And that's really frustrating as well, you know, like you've all these thoughts and you can't get them expressed. And this, yeah, but it's the same. Like you think of children and then how children learn a language, and children, they start by understanding. You know, you say to them, do you want this, or do you, and they can kind of shake their head or they can nod, and they understand, but they can't necessarily say, oh, I want this. You know, so it's kind of part of language acquisition. Like the understanding will come first, and then communication follows.
Yeah, yeah. I normally recommend learning like a kid, especially reading kids' books, because I
Yeah.
used to read some of them and they have like three words in a sentence, and you can understand what the sentence is about because the picture is there and the sentence has only three words. So it's really good as well. It's really helpful. So that reminds me of something as well. What normally you would, what tip would just, what would, what study tip would you normally give to your students?
Um, Try to immerse yourself in the language as much as possible. So also do things that you enjoy. So don't try to force yourself to do something that you don't like. If you don't like reading in your own language, don't try to start reading a big book in English. Like it's just not going to work. You have to do something that you enjoy, and that's going to help your motivation immediately. So if you like listening to music, try to listen to music in English. If you like watching movies, try to watch movies in English. So do stuff that you like, but try to do it in English. And there's a website I would recommend for music. If you like listening to music, it's called Lyrics Training, and it kind of automatically generates gaps for you. So you can pick a song, whatever you want, pick a level, and then it will automatically generate the gaps for you. So it's good. It's good for your listening, and you're kind of having some music there, and yeah, I'd
How's
recommend that.
What's the website
Sorry,
called again? The website's
lyric
called
lyrics training.
Training. I must look it up.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good one.
That's a good advice. I had so many questions, but when it comes to it, they kind of all. Um, I also want if you could explain, because I do have most of my followers. We're having some
Sorry.
comments. Oh,
Yeah. Is it only for songs in English? No, it's not. It actually does a lot of different languages. So if you learn another language, it will do that for you. Um, what else have we got comments wise?
let me see. You have
Gabrielle.
students there.
There's a former student from one of my very first Brazilian class back in 20, whatever it was, 2013, I guess. Yeah.
Did you find it was different to teach to Brazilians and other nationalities? What do you think of
I
teaching to?
Brazilians. They're very like friendly, gregarious, like lively people. And the other nationality I've taught most is Italian, and there are a lot of similarities. That kind of, openness and stuff like that. Um, the yeah, I'm kind of inspired. Brazil is now on my list of places to visit, because I've met so many Brazilians from so many different parts of the country. And I'm kind of like, oh, they talk about where they live with such enthusiasm and such passion. And I'm like, oh, it sounds amazing, I definitely want to go there. So yeah, it's on my list. Which part of Brazil are you from?
I'm from Rio,
Okay.
and I haven't been around in Brazil as much. I've been to the north, in three states, and to the south in Rio Grande do Sul. But Rio is nice. I would normally recommend if you go with someone that knows well the area. It's a beautiful
Hmm.
place, but you would need a lot of time to see a lot of Brazil because, yeah,
I so
it's too far and too expensive for flights. Even for myself to go back home, like I think 10 times more, I would rather go around Europe.
how has it been since you've been home?
Um, it has been about 3 years, almost four.
Wow,
Yeah,
long time.
because then it started in the middle of everything, and then it delayed even more.
Yeah.
I was there in 2020 after as soon as pandemic started here. But then plans changed, and so much has changed in those 2 years of pandemic, isn't it? 2020, 21, almost two, one,
I
and
don't know,
eight.
like the vanished,
It's,
like that it didn't exist or something.
it feels the same way. I don't know, like it's so weird. You think about what happened during this time, and at the same time, seems like nothing happened, but it has been 18 months, I think, almost 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I had just come back to work after my second maternity leave whenever we got shut down. I think I was back like 2 weeks. I just met my new class and I was getting into the rhythm of being back to work. And then it was like, okay, nope, nope, closing. Okay. So,
I'm just really hoping it won't be the same again this time because all
ah,
students are so excited.
pessimistic. No, no, no. Well, okay. We'll just say it's all going to be fine.
Yeah, yeah. I love this in Irish people. Normally, every Irish there is so optimistic with everything, so happy, enthusiastic.
Yeah.
That's something that I think a lot of the followers here, most of them are here in Ireland, I think, but there are some people that are still in Brazil. And I think for even for people that are here, I think they don't really understand much of what happens between islands, what's the situation, how everything started. If you could maybe just briefly
Oh,
summarize.
yeah.
It's a
Okay.
long
So, a
story.
very brief summary because this could get extremely detailed. There's a lot there, but yeah. So basically, there is a lot of history of conflict in Northern Ireland. So not necessarily like between Ireland and Northern Ireland necessarily, but it's within Northern Ireland. Um, because in Northern Ireland there is a group of people who really feel part of the United Kingdom, which we are. Politically, we are part of the United Kingdom. So there is a group of people who feel strongly that we should remain part of the United Kingdom, and then there's another group of people who feel that we should be part of Ireland, that Ireland as an island should be united, that the border should not exist. So this causes a lot of conflict, politics, and so on. Um, but like from a day-to-day life perspective, I wouldn't say that this interferes with the ordinary life of ordinary people, and not for tourists. It's not something that people coming to the country should be worried about. Maybe on certain days of the year, like St. Patrick's Day or the 12th of July, avoid certain areas in Belfast or in Derry. But don't I wouldn't say that it's something that people should be concerned about. It's not something that interferes. The border is open in spite of Brexit having happened. The border's open, so every day I travel to work in the Republic of Ireland and I just cross the border. There's no passport needed, nothing. It's easy, really easy.
You don't even notice you're crossing the border. The only way of noticing is the signs change from kilometers to miles.
Yes, and sometimes you see the road, the markings on the road are a little bit different in the south, and your phone changes or you lose reception or whatever, but that's about it. It's nothing really, it's nothing major. So it's really nice because I mean, if you come to Ireland, it means that you can explore the north as well, and there's a
Country
lot to see.
in one.
Yeah. Yes. Have you been around the north coast?
Not much. I've been to Belfast and to Giant's Causeway. The way, the normal way tourist goes to Belfast and Giant's Causeway and the Hope Bridge. The Hope Bridge, I can remember
The
exactly.
rope,
Rope.
Mercury rope, the dark hedges. Have you been to the dark hedges up there?
Yes, yeah. I've crossed the, yeah, I think so. It has been a long, long time ago. I stopped kind of touristing around. Once you get settled in a place, you kind of stop going around and that's really bad. But
Yeah,
I'm really hoping
but
to do more around Ireland.
that's what I actually, whenever I went abroad to study abroad. I noticed that I was seeing more of those countries than I had seen of my own country. And I thought, actually there's a lot to see. People would say, what is, you've seen like this waterfall in Switzerland or this chocolate factory, seen this and that and something else. Great, great. What about your country? Like, is there a lot of things for tourists to see? And I'm like, I don't know. So I came home, I had to, really, I had to kind of think about it. And so I've started appreciating my own country more and being more willing to go to tourist sites and explore, the local surroundings a little bit more. So I think sometimes traveling makes you want to travel more, and sometimes traveling kind of makes you want to settle, So for me, it was like, okay, yes, it's good,
Well,
but
I'm dying to hop on a plane because it has been almost 4 years since I've been on the plane. And
hmm,
I was checking Belfast, a flight from Belfast, and there's a lot of deals from £5. So anyone in
I
Ireland checking that,
for
and
joking.
I almost got one to Malaga, but it was going to be today, so it was going to be too much on a rush. So I was kind of like, oh, and with everything that's
Might
going
have been
on, we have to do your PCR, and I don't know. So I'm gonna wait and see if there's any other £5 deals for next week and see.
that's a really good deal. Yeah, I'm kind of hankering after a wee bit of a trip myself now because I've my aunt has gone to the Canary Islands and she's living there, and I'm like, oh, it sounds, really nice. I can just hear when she's talking, she's so happy. It's so sunny, and, you know, 30, 33 degrees outside, and she's like, it's so nice and I'm so relaxed, and I'm looking outside at the rain and being like, okay, maybe I should come and join you.
That's on my bucket
um
list, and it's
mhm.
still not there now, and I think it's to the end of October. It's still kind of warm, about
It is.
20.
I think up until, well, even at like December and in January, I think it's maybe 18 or 20 degrees. Like, it doesn't get cold. It doesn't, probably a warm day there is like a good summer day in Ireland. It's never cold like Ireland.
A good Christmas break. Then there's a tip for anyone looking to get away during Christmas.
That's
Canary.
it, exactly. Yeah.
And tell me as well about your classes because our time is always almost up. Tell us your availability. Do you still have, are you still giving classes online? What's going on?
I do have some online classes, but I'm full at the moment. I have uh, I teach for a language school as well, and then I have kids and I have animals. I live on a farm, so I've got alpacas and I've got cows and I've got like a lot of stuff kind of going on. So I'm full at the moment for teaching, but I am hoping to open up some more group classes probably in January. But I will be posting it on my Instagram, on my stories, and so on if I am going to open up some more spaces. So I'll let you know. Keep an eye out.
That's great. So go and follow her page so you know when her classes are back on again. And
Hmm.
tell a bit about, I didn't know you had animals, and that's so interesting because I live as well somewhere where there's a lot of animals, but I just I don't like have any contact with them, but I do think it's really nice. And do you like look after them yourself? How's
Um,
that?
so I grew up on a farm, so we're living there. We're living on the farm at the moment, and there's cattle. We've got a lot of cattle, so I'm not involved day to day with the cattle, but more kind of now and again. But yes, I can work with them and do whatever needs to be done. And we got alpacas recently, so I'm looking after those myself. I've got some hens, got a cat, so I've got a lot of animal plans. Like I want to get a dog, I want to get a pony. Got a lot of animal plans, so probably more animal plans than career plans or any other type of plan. But that's me.
I think that's so good for relaxing as well, looking after animals. taking all the stress away when you're looking after animals. I miss having animals around, but I have enough
Yeah,
as well.
it's very therapeutic. Like, yes, there is work involved, obviously, but um, there's something very kind of basic. It's just the basics, you know. It's they need food and they need water, and you can kind of they're not talking, but you can kind of understand their needs and you know how they're feeling and stuff to a certain extent. So, um, yeah, I really enjoy it.
That's great. So I don't want to take much of your time. Our time is up. And is there anything else you'd like to say about your classes or anything else?
No, I think I've covered most of it. It was really nice to chat to you. Thanks very much for having me.
Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you. And sorry for anything, but I'm always so nervous with the live thing, but I think it went well. Thank you so much for accepting
You did.
my invitation.
Thanks very much. Good to
It was
talk to you.
Guys, if you have any questions about classes, go contact her on her page. And thank you for watching. Thank you, everyone. See you next time. Thanks, Eleanor. See you next time as well.
Bye.
Bye bye.